Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Abdullah Konte here with Win Sports. Another episode talking about the news of the Commanders overall. I haven't been on here since we talked about the big trade for, Anthony Davis for the Wizards. A lot has happened. A lot more uniform talk. There's been a lot of trade talk. Maxx Crosby wanting to be out of Oakland, and there's so many people discussing if this team should be, a candidate for his services, and could they even afford it? I don't know. I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about is just how about that Super Bowl yesterday, right? Like, one, Bad Bunny, man, that was a great performance. For those who didn't want to watch, your loss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know anything in Spanish. I had a great time watching that. It was fantastic. I was bumping his music all day today, to be honest. But the game itself was lackluster. I mean, it was great. I love defense, so it was a great defensive game. But it kind of, I hate to knock on the Patriots, but it just kind of didn't show that. It kind of showed that they weren't super deserving of being there. And it's not that they didn't play hard this season or, they didn't earn the right to be there. It's just they weren't as quality of a team. This is one of the, weaker Super Bowl teams, and I think they're maybe just like a year or two away. Like, Drake May did not play super well in the postseason, but I think he's going to learn a lot from that. It kind of reminded me when Jaden played against the Eagles, not this past season, but the season before, in that NFC Championship game. And I think the only difference is that Jaden played really well throughout the playoffs, and the team just struggled in that game. This one was kind of opposite, where I felt like Gonzo, the fact that Rivera passed on Gonzo still pisses me off to this day. I will never forget the feeling I had when I was screaming at the TV for him to draft him when they were up. And but to see Gonzo play so well, like, clearly they have pieces on that team. Milton Williams looked good. Gonzo looked good. Henderson is going to be a really good running back. And I think May needs a little bit more seasoning, but they're going to be a strong team. I mean, Vrabel's a good coach, so excited for them. But I think the better team won. It was great to see Darnold, come back from all the, trials and tribulations throughout his career. Kenneth Walker, who hates on Kenneth Walker? That guy, just loved his attitude, loved the way he plays. I'm disappointed that he's probably going to get re-signed to Seattle now, especially after the Charbonnet injury, because he was somebody that, for months, I've been saying that they should really target in the offseason. But I just don't think he'll hit free agency. But, look, how about Devin Witherspoon and Kobe Bryant? And, that D-line, they were beating the crap out of Will Campbell. It was the team that won deserved it. Mike McDonald, he deserved that, man. He deserved that victory, and it was just good to see. It just makes everybody excited now that it's officially the off season for every other team, right? So for the Commanders overall, there's been a lot of talk about different things. Like, one, we heard Jaden talk about, potentially wanting a West Coast kid from Arizona State to join him, which, kind of everybody's kind of tying to him mentioning Ayuk. It's that time where people are starting to think about what can they do to change the team next year. And there's been a lot of discussion on this, Maxx Crosby thing. And so I kind of wanted to talk about, a few of the trades that could be something that the Commanders team could do. The first thing is that the Commanders, I don't think, should be making a trade or should be even considering a trade, because the fact of the matter is they don't have draft capital. Like, they made the moves with trying to get Marshawn, trying to get Debo, trying to get Tunsil. They've been trading a lot to get these older players to come in. They do need to go younger. They need to start building through the draft, which was what AP said he wanted to do from the beginning. And, they need to start building through the draft a little bit more. And I think that, trading some of these assets away when you only have a first and a third, you don't have a second or a fourth rounder this year, it's really hard to imagine them being able to have great success trading things away without having to trade that first or third round pick. So that's my first thought, is that should they even be considering a trade? I don't think that they should. Like, I think that even though Maxx Crosby, you know, even though Maxx Crosby is a good player, I think it's just he's going to be expensive, right? There's going to be a lot of people who are going to, vouch for his services. From what Jake Glazer said, and this all started because of Jake Glazer saying that, the Commanders, or excuse me, that the Raiders and Maxx Crosby are, at an impasse. He was not happy about how the way things ended last year. He's not really looking forward to doing another rebuild, which I can understand. I mean, he's 28. He's about to be 29 years old before the next season starts. He doesn't want to just keep going down this hole. He's doing what I think, Myles Garrett was trying to do last year, is trying to get out of a bad situation. And Myles Garrett ended up chasing the money. And as you can see this year, it didn't really help out for him. Like, great, he had his best year because he broke the sack record, but when it comes to the success of the team, they are still not good, and he's still frustrated about that. And with the changes, losing Jim Schwartz, like, he's not happy, and I think Maxx Crosby probably sees that, and he's like, yo, let me get out. I need to get out. I'm not trying to do this, on repeat. I'm not going to keep doing this over and over again. So, he is a guy that, like, man, from what Jay Glazer said, about 20 teams reached out to be like, is this real? Is he really going to be shopped? And so that alone is my big reason why I don't think that Maxx Crosby is going to be an option for the Commanders, because it's not that they don't have stuff that they could give. I just think that they're going to be in a bidding war with a lot of other people, and they're going to lose on that because they don't have a lot of capital. Like, you look at a team like even the Cowboys have multiple first-round picks that they could offer up, right? Whereas the Commanders have one, but, like, they don't have a second-rounder. They don't have a fourth-rounder. Like, there's so many people in this fan base talking about trade back. We don't even know if they'll have the option to trade back because it's such a weak kind of, draft class. So I don't think that should be one that to be discussed. But if there is going to be people that they should trade for, Maxx Crosby would be somebody to consider because he does make a difference on this D-line immediately. I still think that you're in a position to maybe draft Bain. If you really want to address the pass rush on this team, use that first pick on Bain or Bailey if they're there. And I get there's this, thoughts that they might not be there. I think that one of Bain, Bailey, or Arvo Reese will be there at 7. I don't know which one, but I think that one of them will. And then also, you guys know I've made a video on the Trey Hendrickson thing. I'd personally rather them just sign Trey Hendrickson for a year or two than trade Maxx Crosby, right? Or trade for Maxx Crosby. It just, I don't think trading more assets is going to help this team. This team needs to get younger. They need to utilize those picks on younger players. And I'd much rather rock with a guy that's 32. And sure, you're going to have to pay him some money, but as long as you don't have to give up any assets, then I just think that's the better move. Another person that, now if I was going to give up some picks, there are two people that I think that they should maybe consider. I don't think they should do it either way because I still think it's kind of the same issue. One of them is Jermaine Johnson from the Jets, and the main reason why is since the Jets have such a high pick, he was kind of somebody that was getting talked about during the trade deadline last year. He's a really good player out of Florida State. Great D end, he's a young D end, which is where if you're going to be trading for somebody, you should be trading for younger talent, in my opinion. So I think that Jermaine Johnson should be somebody who they would consider. Now, the thing is that you just cannot give up that first round pick. And this is where you're not having a second rounder, your best bet is a third rounder. I could see if they could somehow convince the Jets to take a third rounder, whether that's, doing something with the third rounder and maybe another player or something like that, or maybe like another fourth round pick in the following year or something. I could see them maybe potentially trying to do that. Just because he's a young guy on his 5th-year option. And then another person, you could say the same thing for Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't think the Giants would trade him in division, but he's another player after they got Abdul Carter and they signed Brian Burns, 2 years ago. Essentially, they have the option to let him go. They could, draft another edge if they wanted to. I don't think they should, but they have the flexibility to let him go or to trade him away somewhere. Don't think it'd be in division, but that's another guy kind of in the same boat as Jermaine Johnson that they can consider. And then for me, the last person, there was talk about Brian Thomas Jr. At the last trade deadline, people talked about it. There is an immediate need for another receiver. I talked about it earlier about how Jaden would love to play with people he's played with before, mentioning, kind of like, vaguely mentioning Brandon Ayuk. I personally, if I'm going to try to pair him with somebody he has played with before, it'd be Brian Thomas Jr. I think his potential for the next 4 years is much higher than Ayuk's. I don't know where Ayuk's head's at. So that scares me if I was, somebody who's considering it. But, Brian Thomas Jr. would be much better person. Now, I saw somebody talk about it and mention that they would trade a first-round pick. I would not trade a first-round pick for Brian Thomas Jr. If they could find a package with that third-rounder, I could see that, because I think that, for these younger players, if they were to get somebody like Brian Thomas Jr. for a third, and maybe even Daron Payne, I don't really want them to let Daron Payne go. I do think he might be a cut candidate. But if they were able to trade him, because they just felt like, we believe in Johnny Newton, we might, address D-line more in free agency, and they really wanted to get a high-value player at wide receiver, and they didn't love the wide receiver market. And I think the wide receiver market is going to be dwindled by the time free agency comes, because Pickens and I think Pierce are both the highly coveted guys that I think are going to end up being either getting franchise tagged or re-signing to their teams. There might not be a lot of options. So Brian Thomas Jr., if there really is a disconnect between him and Liam Cohen, and just the new offensive scheme and stuff like that, that's somebody that I think would be really smart for them to jump all over. Getting that connection. We talk about him having a connection, and him as in Jaden having a connection with his offensive coordinators and certain things like that. You preferably would want him to have a connection with a receiver that he's played a long time with and is one of his best friends. I know that everybody mentions neighbors, but BTJ is they were like a threesome. They went everywhere together, did a lot of stuff together. I think him and Malik both showed up to that Tampa Bay first round playoff game to support Jaden. So it would be one of these things that I think would be a smart move for them to make. Now, can they make any of these moves? Probably not. This is a pipe dream. This is one of those times where it's fun to talk about, and it would be exciting if they could somehow make some kind of moves. And this is where, you just never know what AP can do. But if I was making moves, I would probably make those moves more than I would the Maxx Crosby move. I think it'll be cheaper. I think it'd be ones that would make more sense, and they wouldn't be having to fight a bunch of other teams for them. So yeah, just a quick video, really, just to kind of jump back into it. Me and Skylar are looking forward to listening to Durante Jones and David Blau talk tomorrow. We'll probably have a little podcast episode tomorrow after that, just to kind of discuss what they said and if we learned anything from it. Look, it's the off season for everybody, man. It's officially, football is done for 7 months. I'm heartbroken. That hurts just to say that. I'm sure plenty of you guys are already excited to see what happens next, but in a couple weeks we got combine, then you got the franchise tagging, and then free agency will start right after that. So things will move pretty quickly, but it's a long time till April, and then definitely a long time till August, September. So we got a lot of time to talk and converse, but looking forward to it. If you guys like what you see here, please drop a like, subscribe. We appreciate all the support we get. It's been a great month for us. We have more and more to come overall. Yeah, if you have any comments, feel free to, join the discussion. Let me know if I'm just far off. Let me know if there's other people that you would consider. Let me know if there's another video I should make, open to all of that. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you later. All right, peace.